morning everyone, it's Kenneth here today on a Sunday afternoon, and today I'm going to pick loads and loads of tomatoes. The thing about these tomatoes is most of them are all green. That's not really a problem. You can actually pick green tomatoes, and you would think, well, you know, why would I want to do that? And the number one reason is they just aren't ripening. And in our case, I've got we have a jungle of tomato trees, tomato plants. They're absolutely dwarfing us. They are just really thick. You know, I can't really prune them back anymore. And some of the tomatoes aren't ripening. Some of them are. See those little yellow ones down there? Those are ripening quite well. But there's hundreds and billions and billions and billions, hundreds that just aren't getting enough light to ripen. You know, there could be a few other reasons as well. You know, and that doesn't actually matter. What you can do, well, there's two different things you can do, and we've done this in the past before, where we've just had loads of tomatoes and they haven't ripened. The first thing is cut them off the plant and spread them out onto like some kind of tray or a surface. It could be like a shelf somewhere that gets a lot of sunlight, and that will ripen them, just, you know, where there's more light. So whereas the ones here aren't getting enough light to ripen, coupled with the fact that we've had really bad weather, or at least overcast, nothing's happening with them. So you can do that first of all, move them to a place where they do get light, or you can make green tomato chutney. So we'll probably do a bit of both, just depending on how much we get. And there is one more reason why I want to cut some of these back, and I've mentioned it before in other videos, is that we do not have much space in the garden at the moment. Everything's pretty much packed. We've got a few little sections of the garden where we can plant stuff, but we're moving into a time now that I need to plant some onions and carrots for overwintering. And now is probably about the latest, in the next couple of weeks I'd say, it's the latest time I can do that. And in order to do that, I want to use a polytunnel. And as you can see, there is just no space anywhere. It's like a jungle in here. So I'm gonna go through the tomato plants, cut off loads and loads of bushes of tomatoes, separate them from the stems, so maybe just leave the trusses, and see how it goes. Never ever ripen, you know, with the amount of such a small amount of light that they get. So hopefully we will make loads and loads of green tomato chutney that will last us well into the winter. So it's not completely a lost cause, we're just improvising. Okay, so I've basically cut off all the branches and the trusses that tomatoes were on. I've filled one whole bowl full of tomatoes. Some were kind of ripe or on their way to ripening, but I thought, well, if I'm going to make some green tomato chutney, I might as well just use those as well. You know, the good thing about it is you can store it. So we'll probably get, I think we've got about 2.5 kilograms of tomatoes in one bowl, and we probably have about another 2 or 3 bowls left to harvest. There's just absolutely billions and billions of them. So that, you know, once we've made that and put it in jars, it'll last us for months. So that's, you know, quite a cool thing. All of these branches on the floor over here, I'm actually going to leave them there for a day or two, just for the leaves to sort of die down. And now that these tomatoes have access to light, which they didn't have there, I mean, they were absolutely engulfed in themselves. You know, it might encourage some of them to ripen, but to be honest, I'm not too worried about that. To be honest, I would have rather had, you know, fresh tomatoes in our salads and in our food every week. We had a few different varieties, and the main one we had was a yellow cherry variety. So they're all really small and apparently incredibly prolific. I won't ever grow that variety again, I don't think. It's just too much. Gets really bushy, really big and tall very quickly. Whereas, you know, and it's produced a lot, but in this circumstance and in our environment, it's probably not going to be the best. If I had a bit more space and could kind of have the same amount of plants spaced over a bigger area in a sunnier climate, it would probably be okay. But for us, I don't think it's going to work too well. So I've basically like hacked these, you know, there's not much left of them. You know, there's a few little trusses left on some of the plants down there. And again, all of these have been cut down, have tomatoes on them, but now that they've actually got light, some of them might ripen really quickly. But the plan is in the next sort of week or two is to get rid of all these tomatoes, get the soil in here turned over and ready, and to get our overwinter carrot and onions in the soil. The carrot seeds don't really keep very well, and we've got quite a lot, so we basically need to just get all of them used. A couple of weeks ago I made a video about setting up a little like indoor growing area with some lights, and I'll put a link to that up there. And that was me sort of seeing that our tomatoes weren't ripening and thinking, well, I want to do something about this next year. And one of the solutions I hope will work is by starting the tomatoes earlier. So hopefully next year we won't run into the same problem. I'll use a different variety of tomato, as well as get them in the ground a lot earlier, like 2 months earlier. And hopefully, you know, we started this summer off with loads of sun, but it ended off quite badly. Hopefully next year, if it's kind of similar, we'll have lots of sun in the beginning of the season, so the tomato plants will be bigger by then, and hopefully the tomatoes will ripen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to carry on watching these videos, hit the subscribe button now. It would be great if you could share this video with your friends and family, and if you ever have any questions or want to ask anything, leave a question in the comments or just send me a message. You know, I'd be happy to answer any of them, and I will see you guys next week. Have a good week.